This is Wald Amberstone from the Tarot School, and you're listening to 7 Minutes with Caitlín Matthews. Welcome, Caitlín.
Hi there, Wald. Nice to talk to you.
It is extremely nice. We don't get to talk all that often, and it would be nice if we could do it more so. But I want to let you know that we are really and truly pleased that you'll be able to teach for us at the Reader Studio in 2014, and I want to thank you for talking with us today. And I have a question for you. You've spent a professional lifetime, and that's a nice, long professional lifetime, with shamanic practice, which I believe is your main concern, and also with tarot. And these are two large and different worlds, quite large and quite different from each other. And each one is intense, and each one is absorbing in its own right. What I would like to know is how and where do these two disciplines, these two worlds, intersect for you?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd just like to say writing and teaching is also a very important part of my life, and that divination and shamanic healing, it's quite a sandwich. Surely our work is divination. The word divination comes from the root of to ask the gods. And I suppose this is where tarot and shamanic practice certainly pass over to each other, because the things that are unknown to us, whether it's our health or whether it's things that are going on in our lives, we really need to ask those questions. And of course, we ask the questions that we don't know the answers to. And I suppose that reading tarot and also doing shamanic work are both addressing that. Really what's always interested me is, where do we get the answers from? How do we get those answers? You do ask a very needful question. Something is as needful to you as sex or bread. You know, that when you have those, you're on the edge of need. The answers that come up at that point are always the most fascinating and the most helpful.
Are you of the belief that your questions, in some way or another, are necessary to your health? That getting a good answer to a real question is essentially a healthful process?
Oh, absolutely. I really feel that the question is the springboard. And, of course, if you look in the Bible, for example, there's something about consent that comes with the question, which means I'm ready to be helped. So Jesus and his miracles didn't go around touching lepers and saying, there you are, now you're clean, go away, and all you lame people, get up and walk. He didn't say that. He asked them consensual questions like, do you want your sins forgiven you? Or, do you believe in me? There was some question that he asked that someone could answer. And that showed that they were ready to receive that help. And I think that this is, for me, important in both kinds of work that I do, whether it's shamanic work with clients or whether it's in tarot readings with clients.
Do people come to you actually and ask for your help?
Oh yes, I've been working in community for 25 years shamanically. So I'm actually seeing people in the community from all over Europe.
In that way, I suppose, you are in the tradition of those wise women who lived in communities and were available to those communities to help in exactly that way. It's a very old and honored tradition.
The things that people bring to me are things that are not of easy causation. If they have pains in their head since their father died 6 years ago, you know, giving them aspirin or giving them psychotherapy isn't really going to be much help. They've probably been there. They now want the headaches to stop, please, because 6 years is a long time.
Which means that your modality may, in fact, be more helpful in certain circumstances than the standard ones.
Well, you know, we have an advert here which says this particular beer touches the places no other beers can reach. And I think that shamanic work is definitely of that ilk. It certainly addresses things that have spiritual causation rather than psychological or physical causation. Certainly things that appear on to coming up symptomatically are signs that there's something else going wrong. And so, like all good investigators, all diagnostics track back to see what has caused those. So again, we're back into cause and effect, which is, of course, also another springboard for tarot, isn't it?
It is, but it's also this particular kind of cause and effect, seeing the spiritual world as a source, as a cause, is a very shamanic consideration, is it not?
Oh, surely, yes. And so many things that afflict people are to do with problems that their ancestors had. So also you're also looking at healing through time and place. And it's quite extraordinary that the people I get to see probably wouldn't have come to see me unless those same symptoms now begin to crop up in their children. As soon as they see those signs, they're through my door. They will not bear it for their children.
When you were young, before you actually began to do this work seriously and professionally, were you in any way called?
Well, I was a very, very short-sighted child. I really could not see stars in the sky. I couldn't see leaves on the tree. And my whole mode of understanding things was to sing at them. Yes, so anything I didn't understand or I couldn't see, I would sing. And so you get the resonance back from that. So this is where all my work began. Because, of course, when you make those sounds, it's like the blind man tapping his stick on the door frame. You know, he can tell where the dog is on the floor and the grand piano and the bookcase. Yes, because the resonance tells him that. But when you do that, you also see what isn't there.
This is an extremely fascinating subject of such a kind that it really deserves more time and more explanation and more conversation. We don't have a lot of that right now, so I want to thank you extremely much for contributing this to the cause of tarot and to the people in the world who don't know you and should. So we're really looking forward to your presentation at the Reader Studio, and I'm glad that you were able to talk to us today. It was very helpful.
Thank you, Wald. And I'm very much looking forward to coming back and being with my tarot family in the U.S.
We're coming to the point where we need to bring our little session to a close. So I want to thank everybody for listening, and I want you to be sure to visit readerstudio.com to learn more about the event if you're not already thoroughly familiar with it. That's Readers with an S on the end, READERS Studio, readerstudio.com, and we'll see you all in April.